Hi, this is Pat Moorhead with More Insights and Strategy, and we are here for another More Insights and Strategy podcast. It is my pleasure to reintroduce, because he has been on the pod multiple times, Zoho's Chief Evangelist and all around really good guy, Raju. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Patrick. How about you?
Good. Hey, it was such a treat to see you in real life. I know we had met once, and then this little pandemic thing got in the middle, but y'all had your analyst conference here downtown in Austin, which I'm actually sitting downtown Austin right now. So talk about convenience. I could see the event from my house, and I could see my house from my event. So it was really nice. But first off, I know Zoho. Millions of users of Zoho know Zoho, but we always start here. Can you talk a little bit about Zoho and the types of products that you offer?
Sure. Zoho, we offer B2B apps. The fundamental idea is to offer a platform where any business of any size can run their business on the platform. All useful tools, you know, enterprise grade tools that are offered for businesses of all sizes at consumer prices that anyone can afford. And yeah, we certainly serve about yeah, a good number of businesses globally, and serve in about 180 countries. So yeah, we are about 50 plus applications and with a good number of customers. So yeah, that's the focus, B2B apps.
Always blows my mind when I hear and I see um, your reach. And the fun part is when you show me all the confidential slides that I can't talk about, which has even more information of how well the company does for various reasons. But the one thing I wanted to talk about on this is I noticed I had to have you on because I saw the last press release talking about the Zoho finance platform, 50% year on year growth. And quite frankly, even in SaaS talk, that's huge growth, because typically what we're seeing is 20, maybe 25% growth. Overall, that's a really good number for SaaS. I know some people talk about, hey, it's not the rule of 40 anymore, it's the rule of 50. But you don't have to worry about that because you're a private company. But can you talk a little bit about the finance platform, the audience, and some of the factors you attribute to that growth?
Sure. Now, Zoho is known for some of the other applications, but our finance platform has been a hidden secret. But it is one of, if you take one of the applications within our Zoho Finance Suite, it'll make it to the top 5 applications within Zoho portfolio. And it's easy to achieve 50% growth if you're starting from a smaller base.
Yeah.
If you look at the finance platform itself, as is, it serves about 500,000 businesses.
Gosh.
It's not exactly a small base. It is a well-known platform, but well-known for the users of the platform. But in the industry, it is we haven't talked about it historically. It's that there are too many things going on. But it is one of the most comprehensive finance platforms in the market, and there are a lot of interesting things going on.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, it's not just some people, when they think of a finance package, they're just talking about um, books or back office and accounting program. But as I've researched, I mean, it's invoice, it's books, it's inventory, it's expense reports, checkouts, subscriptions, automation, and you even have some people who white label it, which I think is pretty cool. Um, yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, go ahead.
so some of these applications, the accounting applications, tend to be boring, so they get ignored. We have learned that there are two things that make money. One, things that are boring, and the second one, ones that make people lazy. So I guess finance probably fits both those bills.
I don't know. I mean, it's pretty important. I run a small business. I think in aggregate we probably have 30 resources in total. But I have to tell you, I always want to know what money's coming in and what money is going out and how I'm paying that. How do I make kind of a frictionless environment for a customer, which I know is more of your commerce product and your CRM. But um, one of the hallmarks that I've noticed overall at Zoho is your ability to get really close, upfront, and personal in the regions. And there just aren't many finance platforms out there that can support a growing global business. I mean, it you have to support multiple countries with different tax laws that in the green room. I think you told me that somebody changes like every week. Regulatory is changing. In fact, I think there was a very large competitor, QuickBooks, who even exited the India market.
Yeah, but definitely there are a lot of changes happening in certain countries. Uh, that we have recently seen a lot of changes in India. We have seen changes in Middle East, and the companies like QuickBooks or Zero exited India market. Similarly, some of these companies are exiting other markets like Mexico and Brazil and whatnot. The reason is the frequent changes in the local laws, the way you file taxes, e-invoicing, where the government wants to be in the loop. With all these changes, it's no longer the case where you put out a product and the consumers start using it without many changes. No, you pretty much have to build a product for a specific needs of a specific country. So it's not one product that works globally, like a CRM product where you can customize it here and there, and say it's running across the board. Books has to be very specific. It absolutely has to be accurate. It has to be integrating with the local systems.
Yeah.
So it should support local currency, support the local language, support the local banking integration, support the local payment gateways, and on and on and on. So it's important to support multiple countries specifically, and there are not a lot of companies out there that do support multiple countries.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I think we change our tax structure here in the in each state that we have here. I don't know. Texas hasn't changed its tax rate in 10 years, I think. And the notion that the thought that somebody would change it on a weekly basis is pretty mind blowing, right?
There is the tax rate, and then there is the tax process. Tax rate, certainly, like in India, they have changed quite a bit recently, and the tax process is also evolving. There is a concept called e-invoicing, where you need to have your invoice stamped by something from the government before you send it out and collect the money. That process vary, and there are certain entities that are enabled to do that, and those entities vary by country. So you have to natively support some of these, and once you're centralizing some of these structures, obviously the software has to support it, because this varies by every country. And then the evolution of it, sometimes the government says the systems aren't ready, we're going to postpone something to a few months later. Then you immediately have to change a few things in your software. The new version is now updated on the date the government chooses. Like, for example, a couple of weeks back, Mexico said we are postponing the 4.0 version of the recent update to first quarter, end of starting of second quarter. It was supposed to go effect Jan 1st. Now here we are, scrambling and trying to make change and revert back some of those changes to take care of those. So because of these frequent changes in every country, you have to be up to date, you have to be local, and you have to be on top of things, because that's one area you can't mess up. So that is where it requires a significant investment and being on top of things. If there is one thing that is more complex than some of these, maybe I would put payroll in there. But if you combine payroll and accounting and being specific to every country, in case of payroll, every state and possibly every city, then it gets a lot more complex. But this is a case where if you are investing in a particular country, you really, really have to be committed and investing in it for the long run.
Yeah, I have to ask, and while I know you don't necessarily tell people what your profits are, I also know that you're not a nonprofit. And I also know that technologically you have ways that you have been able to enhance the experience, but also to be able to pass on superior costs to your customers. So, I mean, how can you afford to do this when others have pulled out? I think because they didn't want to put too many people feet on the street, and it was just changing way too quickly.
I think it's a good way to or smartly design the systems in a way. For example, we did not go and implement e-invoicing support in India separately, e-invoicing in UAE or Kuwait, Bahrain, or South Africa or Mexico separately. Instead, what we did is we took several years to create an e-invoicing platform, and a lot of effort goes into it, so that the delta we create, that is country specific addition we create, it becomes relatively easier. So some moves like that, when we say we are committed to support tens of countries, then we have to look back and take a broader approach to the market. That means you get to the market a little slower, but you're committed and you are in the market longer. And currently we support about 13 countries plus global edition, and I believe we are just getting started. There's a long road ahead. And that, combined with our broader approach of Zoho developing products all in-house, using our own platform, our own technology base, our own frameworks, that optimizes it. And as a private company with no investors, we got to be profitable. And when you have about 12,000 employees and growing, we got to be profitable. And still, how do we maintain the profitability yet offering good price points across all these countries? That's a tricky situation, and that is what we were able to do, and we continue to do.
Yeah, it is interesting. You're one of the few SaaS companies that doesn't pass on the cost that AWS or Azure, if somebody is sitting on top of it, like a Salesforce, or there's a lot of HR tech out there where they're sitting on top of an IaaS provider, and those are expensive, and they have to pass on those costs.
So typically, if you look at most of the SaaS companies, about 25% of their revenue goes towards these public cloud companies, AWS, Google Cloud, and whatnot. About 65% of their revenue goes towards their sales and marketing. You're talking roughly about 80 plus percent of the revenue going towards that. And the other 20%, whatever is left, goes towards engineering and whatnot. We can squeeze it significantly. In our case, it's the other way around. More than 50% of it probably goes towards engineering. Maybe about 55% of our employee base is in engineering. So we flip it around. So which means we control the stack, we control the sales, we control the marketing. So you have to do it in a certain methodical way. Because we don't have investors on our back, we are able to do it in a calculated way.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught that Andreessen Horowitz study from, they rebadged themselves A16Z. It was called the $1 trillion paradox of the cloud. And, here was Andreessen Horowitz who has made billions off the public cloud, but essentially said, you have to stop doing this because you're giving so much of that profitability away. But it's funny, I'd never heard that 25 plus around 65%, which leaves about 15% to work on the product and profits. So no, that's cool. And it's not just about cost too. It's about understanding local. I know you gave a few examples of it, but I learned a new word from you called transnational localism. I hope I got that right this time. Where can you talk a little bit about that approach and maybe just real quick? I know you talked about examples of that and how they help your finance product, but I think our listeners would be really impressed by it.
So broadly, what the systems that we have built is one central system, and you're serving the entire globe from a central system. And we think that is behind us, because in the last couple of decades, the world really prioritized efficiency over resiliency. And we
Yeah.
have learned that during the pandemic shortages and whatnot. What I think now we are moving to this new world where local resiliency becomes important. The Mexican customers should be supported by the Mexico team, and the US customers should be supported from the US team, and on and on and on. So each team that is supporting the local customers should be rooted locally, building up the local ecosystem, yet connected globally, where the ideas are shared, the common things are shared, and best ideas should be shared globally. So we call it rooted yet connected. The transnational part is the connected part, but the localism part is about being rooted, understanding the local needs, the local customer needs, localizing it, and more importantly, that team should be an asset to the local community and the local country. That's the philosophical concept, and that is also in action. And if you take our finance suite, for example, we have the Mexico team selling the Mexico edition of Zoho books for the Mexican customers, and they are
Right.
invested in it. They know they are on top of things, and that model applies in every single country. So that is the model, and that is the approach we are taking. When they have an issue, they are calling the local employee in a local language.
Oh, I love it. So, SaaS applications and specifically applications like finance and your finance platform, they really do live by the strength of the ecosystem. And I've seen some of your competitors bring out certain affiliations, trying to speed up commerce. Can you talk about what you've done in this area?
Certainly, I think we have been investing on the commerce side of things, but commerce not on just on the customer facing side. We believe the back end side of it, the operation side of it, is important. So that's part of the finance platform, where we have a commerce side where people can build an e-commerce site and place an order, but we have a unified inventory management system. You could be selling on Zoho Commerce, you could be selling on Shopify or eBay, Etsy, Amazon, and whatever commerce site you use, but you still need a unified inventory system. But that is not enough. You need a unified order management system, order processing system. You need to process these orders, ship these orders, which means you have to integrate with all the shipping providers. So we integrate with about 46 shipping providers, and then ship it,
Wow.
notification system, and whatnot. And each of these have to be localized. You cannot use, say, USPS in South America. So you have to integrate with the local shipping providers. But it doesn't end there. The commerce system cannot live in isolation, because money is coming in and money is going out. That has to tightly integrate with your accounting system. So we knit those two together, and that's why it's part of the finance thing. But that's not enough. When the customer places that order, that customer information should be updated in your CRM system, the front office system. So those have to be knit together as well. But how do you communicate it? That's where communication systems have to come in. So these cannot be looked in silos. All of these are connected, and we are knitting them together. And I would say these are unified rather than integrated, which is beyond integration.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And you see these features in some consumer applications, but for some reason, when it comes to commercial applications and B2B SaaS, they seem to be harder. And while all these partners could be integrated on a bespoke basis with your tools, it just that takes time. And why not provide, for lack of a better term, a marketplace of banks, of insurers, of shippers, of folks who can, literally I can take it off the shelf and integrate my favorite shipper. Hey, if my favorite shipper messes up and I want to plug in the next best one that I thought, I can go with them too. I absolutely love that, and I'm super excited about that coming up, and glad that you're investing resources and have invested resources in it. So, uh, final question here. There's, we talked about the product. Overall Zoho is differentiated from a lot of reasons. I mean, first of all, it's a single stack, and not just a software stack. It also includes an infrastructure stack and a security stack. And there are benefits that do that. I like to joke that Zoho has done what the rest of the industry is trying to do. Other companies don't like me to say that, but it's the truth. I mean, if I look at where is the puck going, or where has it gone, it's these full stack software suites. And on one side, some people make acquisitions, and sometimes they integrations are ugly. Okay, let's just face it. You have different kinds of code. People write it differently, and 99 times out of 100, code that's merged or code that's talking to each other is a lot smoother inside one company than it is two separate companies. And I think that's really a benefit there. But you have some other differentiators as well. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you and I did 2 or 3 episodes of this podcast talking about privacy. So how does privacy intertwine with a finance package or a finance platform?
Yeah, privacy is a huge deal in this, and I would say that is one of an important reasons where a lot of people are moving towards privacy. A lot of people are recognizing how much privacy abuse there is in the industry, and their data wallets are leaking uh, across the board. And even if you look at the financial side of things, there are data brokers collecting information on your spending habits. For example, your credit card information, where you spend, how you spend, is being collected. But then there are also data brokers that are collecting how much money you make on the other side, where some of the uh, payroll providers are sharing information with these data brokers, and the data brokers are collecting that information on both sides: how much money you spend, how much money you make, all without users' permission. If a user permits it, then it's all right, but all without users' knowledge. Are you comfortable knowing that your data provider or your payroll provider that your company shows is automatically sharing your payroll information to a data provider, data broker? I think a lot of people don't know that. So there are these industry practices that are pretty bad, that we uncovered as we evaluated some of these and said this is not what we want to stand for. So privacy is going to be part of our finance platform. Privacy is going to be part of our payroll systems and whatnot, or Zoho as a whole, because this is a conviction we have that we are challenging the market, and this may not be the most profitable thing to do, and that's the reason a lot of vendors go down that path. But this is the right thing to do. Here we are basically saying this is what we believe in, and as a independent private company, we have the luxury of acting on our convictions, even if it means letting go some profits.
Man, it's a slippery slope. There was an article, Krebs on Security talks about, here's the headline: Intuit to share payroll data from 1.4 million small businesses with Equifax. And I'm just thinking, I'm a small business owner. That petrifies me. You know, I don't want that data out there floating. It's nobody else's businesses. And I know that, there's a warning message here, but I also know I'm a consumer. I don't read every EULA. I don't read every type of thing, but it's those types of things that kind of drive me a little bit crazy about enterprise SaaS. And I think I even learned that there are trackers that are put even in logins for even like Salesforce and stuff like that can kind of track everything you've done. And I think consumers and businesses need to be better aware of those things. And I appreciate Raju you sharing that.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of abuse that people will be surprised. The apps that use, it's not just the web apps, even the mobile apps. The number of trackers there are amazing. In other words, the tracker can pretty much replicate your session at their end and create a video of what you browsed and what you did at any point of time, including various other data. So that privacy is certainly a deep topic, but that's something that we are committed to. I really hope this is an area where a lot of vendors copy this model, because end of the day, we owe this to the users. The negative side to that is if we don't do it, what will happen? It's likely that the trust in the public cloud systems will die, and the pendulum will swing back to on-premise systems again,
Yeah.
because everything is abusing. And I really hope that won't be the case. And we are already starting to see the signs of this, particularly in the financial industry, where they are opting for on-premise clouds.
No, I appreciate that. Raju, I could talk about this for hours, but this is a podcast and not a talk show. Wait a second, it is a talk show. So, but hey, no, this is great. Congratulations on your success with your finance platform, 50% growth. You're doing it in a way that protects privacy as well, and I think that's to be acknowledged. The other thing is your transnational localism, your ability to really optimize your products in multiple countries around the world. I know, most of my listeners are out of North America, and sometimes they think that the only country that exists is the United States. Well, that's not the case. I mean, you have people in Kenya. You have obviously thousands of people in India. I mean, you have people all over in countries that a lot of folks don't do. And you've made the investment with people to be able to do that. And it's funny. I never would have thought that you had to have a lot of people in country to pull off something like a finance platform. But I learned today that, yeah, you actually have to. So thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Patrick, for having me on. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Definitely. So this is Pat Moorhead with More Insights and Strategies signing off for another More Insights and Strategy podcast. I want to thank you for tuning in. If you like what you heard, hit that subscribe button. You know where to track me down on Twitter and LinkedIn if you have feedback. Have a good morning, afternoon, good night, wherever you are on the globe. Thanks again.